In July 2025, U.S. headline inflation rose modestly, while core inflation, which excludes food and energy prices, climbed to a faster pace. The numbers tell a story. The costs of new tariffs are starting to appear in a range of consumer goods. That combination, sticky core inflation and tariff pressure, is why economists, markets, and policymakers are watching closely. The Bureau of Labor Statistics reported a 0.2% rise in the Consumer Price Index for July and an annual headline rate of 2.7%. But the core CPI rose 3.1% year over year. That gap matters because it signals persistent, underlying price pressure, even as energy and some food prices soften. Analysts and retailers point to higher prices in tariff-sensitive categories, such as household furnishings, some apparel, and certain durable goods. The process is straightforward. Import duties raise the cost of goods. Firms can absorb the hit for a while, but as inventories run down, higher costs are increasingly passed through to consumers. For the Federal Reserve, this presents a dilemma. Even if headline inflation eases thanks to cheaper energy, services and core goods inflation can keep interest rates higher for longer. The question is whether these tariff-driven increases are a temporary bump or the start of a more persistent rise in costs. A second concern is trust in the numbers. Recent leadership changes and political disputes at the Bureau of Labor Statistics have stirred questions about the integrity of official inflation reports. Economists warn that if people lose confidence in the data, it becomes harder to guide expectations and set policy effectively. Tariffs are not new. Economists often point to history to show how trade policy can ripple through prices and economic activity. One famous example is the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act of 1930, which sharply raised U.S. import duties during a global downturn. Other countries retaliated, trade volumes shrank, and the economic pain deepened. It's widely remembered as a cautionary tale about raising broad tariffs in fragile times. More recent research finds a more nuanced picture. Because the United States imports so many manufactured goods, tariffs tend to be inflationary for consumers, but the effect is uneven. Some goods see price increases almost immediately. Others are shielded for a time if businesses can absorb the costs or find alternative suppliers. First, the core inflation trend. If it keeps rising, the Federal Reserve is unlikely to cut interest rates quickly. Second, the tariff pass-through. If more everyday goods, not just furniture or seasonal durables, start getting more expensive, the effect is spreading. Third, the credibility of economic data. Trust in the statistics matters for market stability and public confidence. July 2025 CPI rose 2.7% year over year, with core inflation at 3.1%. Tariff-sensitive goods are showing price increases as earlier inventories are used up. History shows tariffs can shift prices and trade patterns, sometimes sharply. Added to that, concerns about data integrity are creating another layer of uncertainty for policymakers and the public.